you a student, mentor, or parent that loves robotics?
Then you're in the right place.
Up-to-date info on all things robotics. This
is the RoboZone Podcast
with your host, Pete Ekman. The RoboZone Podcast is brought to you by Kettering University. It's a Kettering-built world.
Hello and welcome to the 56th episode of the RoboZone Podcast. This podcast is for Tuesday, April 11th. In this episode, we're getting ready to go to states. For those of you outside of the state of Michigan, you guys have had your regionals, have had your districts, and Houston's right around the corner. We have a great roundtable discussion with a vast panel of mentors from around the state. So let's get ready, and our first segment today is First Update.
Now it's time for the first update.
At the time of the recording of this podcast, Team Update number 20 has been released, and in that update, there aren't any additional changes for this year. So, as we always say here on the RoboZone Podcast, know the rules, get ready for the competition, and we'll see you on the field.
The RoboZone Podcast is brought to you by AndyMark.com, your robot parts experts.
With me, I have a panel of very good mentors. I think all mentors are good, but these guys have won on the field here in Michigan in FIM this year. So let's kick this thing off with Clinton. Clinton, please introduce yourself.
My name is Clinton Bolinger. I'm the co-head mentor of Team 2337 with my wife. You can find us on at Team 2337 on Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff.
Next up, we have Cory.
Hi, my name is Cory Walters. I'm the drive coach for 2767 Strike Force, and you can find us on Facebook at Strike Force 2767.
Next up, we have Jon.
I'm Jon Uren from Team 1684, the Chimeras. I'm the lead coach, and our website's first1684.com.
And finally, we have Scott.
Hey, this is Scott Stap from Team FridgeBot 5084. You can find us just about anywhere on the internet. Just put in hashtag FridgeBot, and you'll find us.
And I like getting the social media out of the way, so I don't have to ask you guys to repeat it at the end. Everyone gets it right out of get-go, so they can look it up. So, welcome, guys. It is now past week 6. It's been a very long season, and all of you guys, like I led with, have all won on the field. So, we'll start with you, Clinton. Tell us how the season has gone for the Engine Nerds.
Our season's been pretty good. We keep each event. We went to 3 events this year. Each event we keep going a little bit further in eliminations, so that's good. Our first event, we actually went against 2767. They knocked us out in the semifinals. They had a great alliance there. Went to Troy, made it to the finals against Hot and the Gems. Once again, they also had an amazing alliance. And then this last weekend, we paired up with Comets, Team 3357. At Forest Hills, and ended up winning that event with them. The Comets probably one of the best, most efficient stacker in the state, hands down. They can pack that scale up there really, really nice. Can get anywhere from 9 to 12 cubes on one layer.
That's amazing, and I think we'll get into that a little bit. But I think that's a great point, Clinton. Cory, how is Strike Force done this year?
So we have a pretty good year so far. We went to our first event, it was week 2 at St. Joe, where we had to play against the Engine Nerds in the semifinals and knock them out. And then we had to go into the finals against St. Joe and Excel. And I think it was iAcademy was our third robot. We played against them in the finals, and we beat them in 2 matches in the finals there. We went to East Kentwood week 5. We had to go and play against Code Red and 6090 at East Kentwood, and that was a lot tougher battle compared to where week 2 was, because there's a much more contested on the scale than it was in week 2. We dropped a lot of cubes in the finals, and it was really a nice pure scaled battle. It was probably one of the more exciting matches we've had so far this season. And now we are just getting prepped and putting some more advancements in the robot to get ready for the state competition here in a few days.
So, Jon, you're next up. Tell us how the Chimeras have done this year.
So we went to Kettering 2. We got bumped out in the semifinals by Thunder Chickens. And then we were with 57-12 and 12-43. And then we ended up going to Marysville and then winning the whole thing, ironically, with the Thunder Chickens. And then 72-18, who was, I think a lot of people mis-scouted and they looked over them. And they were ranked kind of in the middle of the pack. And they were a phenomenal vault bot. They got 9 cubes in the vault, like, within a minute 20, I want to say, or less. Like, it was crazy how fast they were.
And Scott, how has Team FridgeBot done this year?
Well, our first event was Kettering Week 2, and we were the 4th Alliance captain, and had an excellent match there, but unfortunately we didn't have quite enough team members in the stands, and I don't think we actually understood the importance of scouting as it should be. This past weekend, we just came back from Sault Ste. Marie and had an amazing time up there at LSSU. We actually won the event, but it was a hard-fought battle against the Wobots. It was a back and forth all the way, and we had an amazing alliance, and luckily we learned our lesson the first time around, and the kids really pulled it out and did some amazing scouting. They actually picked a 35th ranked team, but it was for the skills that team had. So the Great Lakers, amazing team. They came from the island of Mackinac. So they are actually the only school on the island, very small school, and they said half the team is actually on the robotics team. We also paired up with the Deceivers, which had a very fast scale bot, and they were also able to take the opponent's switch with some great speed and came through in flying colors. There is a match that the Wobots got tangled up with another team, and their cable mechanism got tangled up in the opponent's robot, and that's kind of a sight to watch. So if you're interested, check out the LSSU match from this past weekend, and some pretty interesting action there.
So I want to thank all you guys for giving us a quick update. I'll give you one of my own. I saw Cory Walters out at Lakeview when I took 7056, my rookie team, the fast team. And while we didn't win the event, we placed in the semis in one event this year, and knocked out in the quarters by a very good alliance at Lakeview. But we won the Rookie All-Star Award. So we'll join our fellow rookies around Michigan that have won that award and qualified the robot on the field of battle, as they say. So me and Jeremy Callahan, I know he listens to this, so 7211, we're going to look for them, Team Hollywood. Very closely matched, I think, our two. We are talking a little bit of smack towards each other on Facebook because we are ranked number 2 and number 3 of all vault bots in Michigan. So as rookie teams, that's an amazing accomplishment. And in fact, I have to hand it to 7225, who was at Lakeview. They are number 1 in the state as a vault bot, and they're rookies. And they also won a Rookie All-Star Award. So we'll see them on the field, or one of the fields, out at the Michigan State Championships. So everyone's ready for states, right? All their robots are ready to go. You guys aren't making any improvements whatsoever, and you're just going to, let it fly and see what happens. I know I'm not going to ask you guys to answer that because I know it's not true, but I know, and Clinton, we'll ask you first, what are you going to change on the robot that you did from the regular season to prepare it for the state championships?
For states, some of the stuff we're looking at, wire management, trying to make it so that our wire, sometimes wires, get caught up in robots and other stuff like that. So trying to minimize risk, trying to make sure that the robot is ready to go, and if there's loose pieces, replacing them. But probably the most that our team is focusing on, and we got 2.5 days we're working on stuff right now, is trying to make more and more autonomouses, right? Autonomouses that work with other people, that kind of take different scenarios into play, whether it's for qualification matches or elimination matches, or even, when hopefully if we make it to Dallas time.
And Cory, how is Strike Force? What are they doing? What are you guys doing to your robot to prepare it for the state championships here in Michigan?
I think first we got to congratulate Clint on getting a 3-cube auto at Forest Hills.
Well, congratulations. I didn't see that match, but congratulations, Clint. That's the first one I've heard about this year.
Yeah, Q7 at Forest Hills. We hit the 3-cube auton. It was awesome. And honestly, it was one of the best matches it could happen in because we were going against Comets. So if anything, it kind of sent a message. I would like to say is like, hey, depending on what happens the rest of this weekend, we got a 3-cube that we might hit. Unfortunately, we weren't able to hit it again because the randomness didn't fall on our sides enough to keep tuning it in to get it more consistent. But we're trying to shave off more time so that we can have that be more consistent. But yeah, we were excited to be one of the first ones in the state to do it.
Yeah, that was an amazing thing to watch.
Yeah.
As far as what we're working on being able to more precisely set the cubes on the scale. When we were at Kentwood, we only were able to reverse our intake wheels to place the cube. And since then, we've made additions so we could more precisely place the cube on the scale. Working on some more auton. We're working on some cube vision for auton to be able to more accurately chase the cube rather than dead reckoning it, but that's still a work in progress that may or may not be put in for states. And then there's a lot of driver practice right now. Like I'm in a side room right now, and I can hear the robot screaming on the other side of the wall right now. So,
so you're working. They're putting together Frankenstein next door, and you have no idea what you're going to walk into when you're done with this interview.
Well, I can hear it. Nothing's gone terribly wrong yet.
No one's screaming, and everything's good. Jon, what I know that you've made some changes to your robot during the season. I was there at Kettering when you had some difficulty climbing, and you guys rectified that. What other changes are you doing to your robot?
Well, our climber is still kind of bad, so we're trying to fix that. No, it's okay. We are trying to speed it up, make it a little bit faster. Then also working on autons. Auton's a huge thing, and right now we have a 3-cube switch auton that was really powerful and gave us a strategy that we used at Marysville that was very effective. But at states, it could be, depending on what division you end up, is going to be a completely different story, right? So we're just we have a 3-cube scale auton, but we never could run it, unfortunately, because we were always with people who we were concerned about making sure that we got that RP. So we're just testing autons, trying to incorporate some LiDAR type stuff so we can actually see if the scale's tipped up or down, and then make a decision on what position our arm needs to be in. So that way we don't just go top shelf and then launch, right? Try to make it as accurate as possible.
And how's the climbing mechanism? Have you done any more improvements to that mechanism?
Yeah, so we turned it into kind of like a telescoping swing arm instead of a 4-bar telescoping arm, and we got I think 3 climbs at Marysville, but we were just running into some simple little problems with spacing and stuff. So we're fixing that, and then also just improving the speed of it too, because it's a little slow. So
I tell you what, if you guys get the chance, look up the Lakeview stuff. The Lakeview, and I'm sure Cory saw some of this. The Lakeview event, because the Dreadbots had an amazing climbing mechanism. Kind of similar to yours, Jon. It kind of just went up there, it hooked, and then they hooked to the side, and we climbed with them and did a double. And I don't want to say it was questionable by the referees, because I'll never disparage a referee, but I know we were up at 0 and they didn't give us, the climb. Yeah. But whatever, we did it. So we can see.
Yeah, our inspiration for our new climber is based a lot off of Thunder Chickens, because at Kettering they had one of the fastest climbs. Like I think I saw them climb in less than 2 seconds. It was crazy. But they were by themselves too. It's difficult when you have multiple.
Thunder Chickens were definitely a memorable climb.
Yep.
So Scott, tell us what Team FridgeBot has done to their robot, or what you're planning to do to the robot between your final event now and getting ready for states.
Well, we're adding a ice maker and indoor water dispenser.
Your robot doesn't look like a refrigerator this year, though. That was a couple years ago. That was your first year.
Sorry, yeah. We're actually working on some changes in speed. We're playing with some differences in the climber, trying to get us to lift cubes into the scale faster. When we were up at Sault Ste. Marie, we noticed, we were able to get it up there, just not as fast as we'd like it to. So we're working on the climb, we're working on some speed, and we're also working on making it so that our driver can see the field a little bit easier, maybe improvements to the camera and whatnot like that. But we did make a lot of changes between Kettering week 2 and Sault Ste. Marie, and noticed a dramatic difference in our results.
So I think I'm doing the exact opposite of you guys. I'm not touching a thing as a rookie team, and getting these guys used to competing. And to be honest, I thought I was going to throw up the whole time I was in the stands to the end of that event, because they don't announce the rookie all-star until the second from last. And I'm looking at FIM, and I'm looking at the rankings. I'm like, if we get it, we're in. And we got it. And then I was elated. I might got a little emotional going through the line and slapping the judge's hands, but whatever. Don't judge me.
Now, did the kids know that you needed that rookie all-star to qualify for states, or was it just you?
Oh, no, we all did.
Okay.
Did. They wanted to know, and I said, listen, if we get it, we get the award. Because they were I was trying to teach them everything about, the robotics thing, how the ranking points work, what each, the 160 top 160 teams. I was texting Clinton's wife, Brandi, hey, does chairman's, do they count against that 160? And she said, yes. I didn't think they did, because they're automatically in the state championship. So I was trying to put all these numbers in my head, and I'm stressing, and I didn't want to eat because I didn't want to throw up in the stands while I'm waiting there, and I'm pacing back and forth, and one of my parents is recording me as I'm rocking back and forth, because the anticipation is just killing me. But we got it. It was great, and we're going, but we're not making any changes. We have a repair to make once we get out of the bag, and Scott's going to help us with that, and John offered to, so we thank both you guys for offering to help us with that. And we're going to get going. We're not going to change anything, because the kids already know the robot inside and out. And with a small team, I'm taking a lesson from Clinton Bolinger when I attended a Kettering Week 0 workshop he gave us, where he says, keep it simple, silly. And that's what we're doing. We're not going to change what we've done. We are number 2 in the state for vault, so that's what we're going to do. And we can climb at the end, so we can maximize our points and give our alliance 120 points maximum. And that's what we're going to do as a rookie. I don't want to do anything else. I don't want to change anything, because then that will throw them off, and we'll spend a whole day trying to adapt. So do you agree with that method, Clinton? Did I get that pretty right from your teachings?
Yeah, I mean, doing the repairs are always good things. You want to make sure your robot's in, the best thing. If you have a motor that was maybe getting hot at an event, switch it out. You got wheels that are wearing. I know that at Forest Hills, we finished the event, and instead of really celebrating everything, our students went back to the pits, and we swapped out all of the center wheels on our drivetrain, so we have new tread on them ready for states. So we even took advantage of that last hour before pits closed to, prep for states, because we don't get on bag time like we normally do.
Right. And we won't get into that whole debacle, because we'll sit here for an hour discussing bag time, and people hate it, people like it, and we'll just leave it at that. But my follow-up question, Clinton, is what do you think is going to change between what we've seen in the last 6 weeks and when we go to states? What do you think is going to change? And Cory's already he has his camera, and he's already smiling. So hit us with some truth, as they say, Clinton. What do you think is going to change?
I think through qualifications you'll see probably similar things to what you've already seen in eliminations. The qualifications at states will turn into what district events eliminations are. You're going to see a lot more strategic play. The big thing, you're going to see a lot more defense, right? Defense is coming. It's been coming, and it's only a matter of time before it rears its head, if you will. But you're going to, at states, the biggest thing is you go into a lot of matches, and you have a lot of, access to cubes at most districts. When at states, those cubes are not going to be readily available. This game is a resource management. game where you got to manage all your resources, the resources that you have access to, the resources that everyone has access to. I know at Troy, in the finals match 3 at Troy, at 4 seconds left in the match, every cube that was on the ground in the platform zone was gone. That means 30 seconds into the match, all the cubes are gone. You got 2 locations to get cubes after that, which is the portal and your power cube zone. So I think that's some of the stuff that's going to change, and we'll see at States.
Corey, what do you think is going to change at States now that we're through the 6 weeks of the qualification or, the district models?
Yeah, I think Clint's correct that the cubes are going to be disappearing along that fence much quicker than they have before. And just because this game is just going to get faster. Everyone's going to get faster at placing the cubes in the scale, at doing the vault, at doing the switch. And the question is once you get going that fast, where are the next cube's coming from? And they're coming from that far side on the portal. And then once you do that, you've opened the door for some pretty tough choke points to get through. I think with the scale battles, it's going to be about speed and getting the cubes on the scale, but also about getting the cubes on precisely. If you've just been throwing them up kind of how they have been during the district events, if you just throw them up to get 4 or 5, and that might win you the match. At States, the 4 or 5 cubes isn't going to win you the match. It's going to be how can you stack them, and it's going to come down to just who's got the driver skills at States will be the big factor in who comes out on top.
You guys are making me feel better that we're a vault bot, but John, do you agree with them, or do you think something differently is going to happen at States compared to the normal season?
I think human players down better because at Marysville, I noticed a lot of matches where a robot would drive up to the portal and the player was just staring at it and didn't put a cube in it, and that doesn't make sense. You need to be attentive. It's just like the pilots last year that were misplacing gears or not putting them on or not turning the rotor. It's like every team at States is just going to have to be on their toes every match, right? Especially when the only place that there's cubes are down at those portals, right? So you need to get those.
I think that's where a lot of the defensive play that Clinton was addressing is going to be played, is in that area.
Yeah.
So, Scott, do you agree with the 3 other panelists? Do you think that the placement of the cubes is going to be key, and then the cube management within the scale area?
Oh, definitely. I think that, like Clint said, you're already seeing this in the district matches. We had some of our finals events there, 45 seconds, a minute from the end. All the cubes were off the floor. Robots were just kind of wandering around going, what do we do next? If you're a good, fast bot, you can get down there to the other end, get cubes, but you got to watch it coming back. You can get fouls, you can get trapped down at the wrong end of things, and the climb adds up to big points also. So you got to get down there and do that. I think you're going to start seeing people actually perfecting the climbs. You're going to see a whole lot more triple climbs instead of going full matches without it. Yeah, I totally agree.
So, Clinton, I have another follow-up question in the same line. So, you said you had a 3-cube Auton, right, at Forest Hills.
Yep.
Was that all 3 in the switch, or was that?
No, that was all 3 in the scale.
Okay. So, you guys all said that there's going to be a limit of the cubes that are out there by the scale, right? So is that with a 3-cube Auton, does that hurt or help an alliance if they're all up there? I mean, then you have to get to the positioning piece that you talked about, right, where you have to make sure they're stacked the correct way.
I mean, the key of the autonomous getting the 3-cube is about having the at the beginning of this game, it's kind of a sprint, right? You gotta come out of the blocks, if you will, and having 3 cubes up there, and your partner your opponent might only have 1 or 2 up. That gives you some time to make the decision. Do you take one of the cubes, maybe on the far side, put in their switch, pick up another one, and then put it on the scale? So now the other Lions, you put them on their toes. So they have to make the decision. Do they still fight for the scale? Do they fight for the switch? Once again, the cubes are coming off the ground even faster, right? So, and you happen to get, 2 of them. Don't include the one that you had in Auton. You get 2 of them from the platform zone that the other Lions had no opportunity to try to grab and get. So, even like that, some people even doing some of the switch, some advanced maneuvers on the switch is running your switch and then also trying to get cubes afterwards, whether you get it from the portal, the power cube zone, or you get it, swing around the side to get it from the platform zone. Those are some other strategies that I imagine you'll see at States as well.
Cory, what other things are we going to look for at States besides the play with the scale? I mean, is a VaultBot a valid thing to utilize in an alliance at that point?
I think the VaultBot will still have a role. You may end up seeing less of those 10 cubes might not all go into the vault, because the alliance might decide that those cubes might be better worth going on the switch or the scale to maintain ownership. Because if I put 2 cubes in the vault, I'm going to get 10 points plus whatever power up you play with it. But if I put those 2 cubes on the switch, does that give me more control per second to end up being worth more points than if they were worth in the vault? That's kind of the game you end up playing, is at what value, because those are the 10 cubes in your home area to use. You just got to put those 10 cubes in the place that be worth the most value. Every time you pick up a cube, you're thinking to yourself, where can I put this cube to give my team the most amount of points at that second you grab it? And it may be the vault, it may be the switch, it may be the scale, and that just comes to a judgment decision on the drive team.
So it sounds like it's going to be a lot more of the crosstalk between the coaches that are sitting behind the drivers and the operators, all having to keep in sync with each other in constant communication. Do you agree with that, Jon? It sounds like we're all going to be, from my experience, and again, I'm a rookie team, what we did is we talked to all of our alliance partners and said, listen, we can do 9 to 12 through the vault every match, and we had the proof to do it. Said, we'll just do our thing. We're not going to drive on the other side. Never let my kids drive on the other side of the field. I did not want to incur any penalties. I didn't want to give any points away. Those points are valuable, and we all saw matches that were given away by penalty points. So do you agree with what Cory is saying?
Yeah, I would agree with that, and I'd even take it a step further, saying my advice for somebody like you guys is go to that practice field and try to get that practice on the other side, because you're going to have to do your drive team might want you to go play defense or might want you to do that, or they might just want you to block the portal, and that's actually kind of hard to explain to another team and say, hey, we want you to park in front of this portal and kind of choke it off, and that's hard to do during a match, right? So, but yeah, I definitely agree with both what Cory and Clint are saying, where I can totally see people putting less cubes in the vault knowing that they're going to need them on the scale or they're going to need them in the switch.
Scott, so we're gonna build on this discussion line. So, are power-ups really going to count at state championships? Are they really as important as they were in the district events? I know that's a doozy of a question.
Yeah,
so.
Definitely. I mean, I did see in some of our matches where the vault bot was sitting there chucking blocks in the vault, and we had a really good vault bot. They were good at getting them all in there, but when you start wandering around looking for ways to keep the switch and keep the scale in your favor, and they've all gone to the vault, you got to start doing the math at that point, which is better. And I did see, towards the end of our matches, where the defense was having to come into play, and like they're saying is you might have to get uncomfortable. You're going to states, you might have to get uncomfortable, go to the other end and start doing some defense down there. But yeah, it's going to be a battle of the blocks. That definitely. I think one of the strategies that I saw with our alliance was. The deceivers would shoot down the other end and instantly start taking their blocks, start taking the blocks from the other end. And the faster you can do that before they use it, the better. So, you can take their blocks and use them to your advantage and put them in places where they're not going to be able to get them.
Right, and there's not a protected zone. So if I'm on the blue alliance and I'm the vault bot for blue, you have the red portals to the right and to the left of me. One of the things I thought about talking to my driver and operator, and they're really good for first-year guys. I mean, they've proved their stuff this year. Is I told them that that's not a protected area. If there's a robot going to get a cube from that portal, you can bump them, take the cube away, and put it back into our vault. That's not a protected area. It's not like it's by the scale, where if you contact someone, it's 25 points you're giving away, or 20 points you're giving away, whatever that amount of points is. But there is defensive play that we can still play on our side, and that's starving any robot that's coming to get a cube from those two portals. So I think that's a valid defensive strategy for us as a rookie team. I just don't want to get hung up on the scale going down to the other end, and it's tough to see down there, which we all know that, and then accidentally hitting someone, giving points away. So I'm trying to do risk mitigation.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So Clinton, how are you? You guys are doing fun. Are you guys fundraising right now? I know you guys do that type of thing because my daughter was on your team at one time. Are you in the middle of doing that right now, trying to get the funds, or you're already set to go?
So for states, we've already raised enough money to go to states. We were fortunate enough to win chairman's at our first district event at St. Joe's. So we kind of knew we were going to states, so that helped with that. We're always obviously trying to gain additional partnerships with companies to try to get a sponsorship. And then every year we typically after states the following weekend in Grand Blanc, we have a can drive that we try to raise money. And I think it's probably one of the most successful can drives you can have in the state of Michigan because we were able last year to raise over $8,000 in one day.
Yeah, and I've borrowed that idea, and I've joked around with Brandi about it when we did the Rookie Roundup section. Instead of we're borrowing that, we're actually going to have to put ours off because we scheduled it for this weekend thinking we weren't going to states, and now we're going to states, so we have to push it off. So we'll raise that money later, but I will
First
be dropping
Michigan problems, right?
Yeah. First in Michigan problems. Everyone outside the Michigan's going to go, you guys need to get over yourself. But whatever. Anyways, I'm just saying we have the most teams in the single state. I'm just saying. But anyways, I'll be dropping off some cans with you guys because I still have a house there in Grand Blanc, Clinton. So you can count on some cans coming from me. Cory, are you guys ready are you guys still fundraising for states or?
We did enough budgeting and fundraising in the off season to get ready for all of our registration fees throughout the season. But once all the registration fees are paid, that's pretty much it in the bank account. So we get enough money in the bank and fundraising and budgeting and asking for our sponsors to get us through the season. And then when the season's done, we got to go right back out and start asking again.
Right, because there's Worlds right after that, and then there's the whole next season, and then there's off-season events, and there's always constant money that needs to be coming into your program. And shout out to Team 27, Team Rush. I used some of their methods as well. I don't have a regatta. I don't know if you guys know about that, but they do a regatta each year where they put these boats made of cardboard and tape, and they actually go float and have races down a river in them. I don't think I would do that, but they raise a lot of money. Jon, are the Chimeras doing any fundraising right now to get ready for states?
No, actually, my co-coach Bernadette has done a phenomenal job of organizing the team and making sure that our budget is correct and everything's set. And then we're sponsored by GM, fortunately, so they've definitely helped out with registration there. So, but yeah, she made sure early on in the season that we were budgeted, so in case we did make it to states and in case we do make it to Worlds, that we'd actually not have to worry about that and be able just to go. So very lucky in that sense. So.
And Scott, how about you guys? Is Team FridgeBot raising funds right now to go to states?
We actually we're small enough that we can't put very many resources to fundraising. We are pulling in a lot of newspaper, online advertising, getting the word out that we do exist, using this opportunity of going to states as a way to raise awareness of our team. And then as soon as the competitions are done, we're going to start going out and hitting sponsors again. We do a lot in the off season, contacting sponsors and trying to raise either funds or what our biggest fundraiser has been is actually recycling old stuff. We take donations of items and whatnot, even old school supplies, and we turn around and sell them or repurpose them and raise funds for our team that way. We've been able to raise a awareness and money in selling this stuff. So, and that's kind of where the whole wall of free stuff come in. If another team comes in, we give away the free stuff, but we also advertise the stuff for sale and use it as a way to get people into our facility and say, here, this is what we're doing. Can you help us out?
And I may have visited Team FridgeBot and taken a thing or two off that free wall. I'm just telling you. There's a lot of I'm a hoarder of technology, so there was some pretty cool stuff, pretty nice items I liked, and we actually used. So as you said, I want to thank all you guys for coming on board. I said we'd be 20 minutes, and we're 40 minutes into this. So I said if the conversation flows, we're just going to keep going. So as you sign out, we'll start with you, Clinton. Tell us again who you are, what your position on the team is, and then if there's any prediction that you have for Michigan State Championships, just anything, just throw it out there.
Okay, I do have one that I've been saying, and I don't know. It depends on who's in our division, whether or not this statement will be true, I guess. But anyways, my name's Clinton Bolinger. I'm with Team 2337. I am the co-head mentor. I'm also the field coach. So typically you'll be seeing me behind the glass, the scary guy with the beard and the hat. So sorry, Cory. My prediction is I don't think a Buddy Climb wins MSC. That's my prediction.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Cory, if you are in our division, I might change that. Maybe.
He's putting an asterisk on it just in case he comes up with Strike Force. It's
kind of a bold prediction, I would say, but I think there's some validation to it that could be a true statement. It depends. We'll see. All
right, Cory, you're next.
Well, there's a 1 in 4 chance of that happening right now. Until the division is tomorrow. I am Cory Welters. I'm the drive coach for 2767 Strike Force. You can follow us on 2767 Strike Force First Robotics on Facebook. My bold prediction is that the finals at MSC will not be decided by climbs. It will be decided by ownership of the scales and the switches. That the difference in the scores would be so great that the climbs are a moot point.
Good. That's a good one. But you guys may be on the same field together. We'll find out tomorrow when the things come out. And I hope I'm on all you guys' fields, but we'll be on one of them. So, Jon, you're next.
Yeah, I'm Jon Uren. I'm the coach of Team 1684, the Chimeras, and my bold prediction, I guess, would be I think kind of like what we talked about, that in the final eliminations at MSC, there's going to be very few cubes in the vault, maybe 3, and that they're going to be needed elsewhere, such as stacks on top of the scale or in switches. So.
And finally, Scott.
Hey, this is Scott Stap from Team FridgeBot 5084. I'm the proud lead mentor of an amazing small team. My prediction is that somebody will try to deploy a ramp bot and spectacularly dump somebody else on the field at MSC. I've never seen much of the ramp bots actually working very well. It takes 3 highly coordinated robots to do it, and it didn't work. So yeah, I'm thinking the climb is not going to be where it's won. It's won at the scale and the switches.
All right, guys. Well, thank you again for coming on board for tonight for the podcast, and we wish all the teams here that are represented and all the teams that are going to Michigan State Championships all the luck, and let the best robots win, or actually whoever has the best robot and the best strategy, as I think Clinton would say. Strategy is key. So thanks for coming on board tonight. Good luck, guys, and we'll see you at States.
Thanks for having
me. Thanks,
Pete. Yep.
The RoboZone podcast is brought to you by Kettering University. It's a Kettering-built world.
Up now is the RoboZone Rookie Rundown.
For the Rookie Roundup section this week, we want to give a special thanks to everyone that has participated in this segment across this season. Without Brandi Bolinger, we couldn't have had the information that we needed as rookie teams to help us compete, help us get ready, help us run our teams, and help us present ourselves in the best way possible. So, Brandi Bolinger, I know you're listening to this, and on behalf of the RoboZone podcast and everyone listening, thank you for what you've done for us this season on the Rookie Roundup. And with that will be the last Rookie Roundup for this season. Good luck to all those teams competing in state championships, in the regionals, in the districts, who's going to make it to Worlds. If you've won a Rookie All-Star Award, congratulations, and good luck in presenting your team to those judges shortly. And hopefully, not all of us can make it, but for those that make the next level for the All-Star Rookie presentation at Worlds, good luck. Rookies that are out there competing for state championships with their robots and the World Championships, good luck. And maybe, just maybe, you guys will take a World Championship banner home. And with that ends the 56th episode of the RoboZone podcast. Don't forget you can listen to us and subscribe on Apple iTunes, on Google Music, and also on SoundCloud. We greatly appreciate you listening to the RoboZone podcast, and we will continue to cover Michigan State Championships and the World Championships this year. So don't forget to listen to those episodes. If you are competing in anything that is going forward, good luck, and we will see you next week. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the RoboZone podcast with your host, Pete Ekman. Find us online at RoboZoneTV.com and on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram.